Fellow Cornucopians, it is officially time to rise. I've got an exciting interview here, and there's been a ton of developments when it comes to the Cornucopias game and a brand new direction in which they'll be taking this MMORPG. Now, there's going to be a lot of updates here coming in from none other than Rob Gregg and Josh Jones, two of the co-CEOs or co-founders of this game, which has roots here within the Cardano ecosystem, but slowly and surely they are spreading out. In addition, we have the first ever apartment sale for this game taking place right now. Links to everything that you need to know will be left down below. I'm actually in conversation with both of those co-CEOs to see if I can get them back on for an additional interview here to talk about this particular update or this particular sale. Now, if you want to go ahead and contribute and support the Dapp Central YouTube channel, there is a referral code as well that you can use if you plan on participating. But today, we're going to be talking about the rebrand and the introduction of Infinity Rising. So without any further ado, enjoy today's interview. What's up, Ada Gang? Welcome into Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I am your host here, Fareed. We've got a massive reveal here today as it relates to the Cornucopias game. I don't want to spoil this, but there is a lot of alpha, so you're going to want to make sure to watch this all the way through. And of course, I'll be joined by my two favorite co-CEOs or co-founders, and those are Rob Gregg and Josh Jones. Without any further ado, let me bring the both of them up. First, we've got Mr. Rob. Hello there. How are you?
Hello there. I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. It's a wonderful Saturday, and we're getting ready to jump into a lot of Cornucopias alpha here with a massive reveal. Now, you also have brought in your partner in crime, and that is none other than Josh Jones. Welcome in, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's a pleasure to be here. It's good to see you as always. Good to be on the show again. You make great content, and I'm more than excited about everything that we get to reveal here today. So, yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to break a lot of this alpha. So we've got a massive jam-packed interview here. For anyone who's seeing you guys for the first time, first off, I'd be very highly surprised you guys have been building here throughout the entire bear market, and I think are about to enjoy the fruits of your labor here, but would love to maybe get a little bit of background, but then also just a brief overview of what the Cornucopias game is, and then we're diving into the big reveal. So Josh, I think I'll let you take this one.
Sure. So, yeah, we've been building since 2021, and we've been building this game, Cornucopias. And Cornucopias is, it's a story of how humanity has ascended into the sky. There was a calamity, and humanity has ascended in the sky. And what the game is you as a player are a part of humanity, the nation of Cornucopias that has ascended. And you get to go from various domes to explore, to build, to craft, to race, to experience all of these different things that humanity has developed in the sky. And there's also a tension between humanity and the earth below. So there's problems that exist there after the ascension. And so that's a little bit of our lore. We can get into it more as the interview progresses. But yeah, that's the story.
All right. Now, either one of you feel free to jump in here. Today is a big day. Can either one of you break down what the big news and reveal is all about?
Oh, we sure. Yeah. But I would say the best way to do that is for us to watch the trailer, and then we can dig into it.
All right. So without any further ado, let's jump into that trailer now.
Welcome. You're here early, that's good. Means there's something special about you. We got a whole lot going wrong around here. You better train up. We got terrors knocking on our infrastructure, and some mighty strange occurrences going on. I'm afraid our world is at risk. Without people like you, Cornucopias might fall into darkness. Better get smart, Get trained and be ready. The storm is coming. I can feel it. I'd like to say we've been through worse, but this time I'm not so sure. Good luck out there. You're going to need every bit you can get.
Children of the multiverse, you have crossed the veil through the gate to stand with us in Cornucopias. You have my appreciation. I am but a messenger, a guide sent to show you the path that must be walked. But know this, the rifts are only the beginning. What you have seen is but a shadow of what is yet to come. The path ahead is dark, and the cost will be great. For the dangers you face are not born of this world alone, but from beyond it. Some of you will fight the tide, others will build and restore, some will weave knowledge, while others will sustain through trade and creation. Strength, will, and unity, these are the bonds that will endure when all else is broken. Rise now, stand against the tide, for infinity does not end, it begins. Infinity is rising.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have just seen it there first. Infinity Rising. Rob, Josh, I'm sure that this was a really big effort to keep this under wraps. What are you guys' thoughts about this brand new reveal and sort of this shift, right, for something you guys have been building for multiple years?
Well, it was a lot of work to keep it under wraps, but it was also a long amount of work overall, just getting everyone in agreement on it, going through hundreds of names, going through the trademarking process. What is the evolution, and what do we want to represent? So there was just a ton that went into this. We started talking about it about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago even. And then Matt really started pushing. Matt, our marketing director, really started pushing, hey, we need to do this. The vision has changed. The game has changed. It's evolved. We've had a lot of people brought into this since the beginning. And as it has changed and evolved and increased in scope and magnitude, it's like we need to look at our identity and, try to recapture that in a new way, in a way that really aligns with our vision, with the game, with our values, with the brand, etc. And so for any of you that might be freaking out right now, I'm wearing this hat for a reason. Cornucopias lives on. Cornucopias is the nation of people that have ascended into the clouds, into the sky. It is all of us. It is our community. It is the gamers that in the future come and join that community that participates in the Infinity Rising together. And so, we're so excited about this. Rob, I don't know what all you would say. I can keep talking for hours on it. I think it is a huge step in our evolution as a project. We are ascending. We have reached a place where the game, actually, I think I might be going into something that we'll get into later, but like the stage that we're in is it's perfect for this change. And so we hope everybody's excited with us, but I want to hear from Rob too.
Yeah, I mean, to be very clear, we are rebranding, so we are renaming the game. and there's a new look and feel of the website. There's new fonts. Everything is new. The gameplay remains the same. The vision remains the same, but it's more now lore based. When we started, we didn't really have the much idea of the lore. So there's, over the years, as the lore has been created, and you know, we've been thinking about it more. There's a little bit of, I would say, maybe contradiction between the word cornucopias, which is obviously a horn of plenty, kind of contradicted what the dying earth and the scarcity and the survival and the aliens that are coming as well. And I think that Infinity Rising, those two words, they kind of directly reflect the almost like the multiverse, the exploration and the humanity rising against extinction. So
Look at that logo. Sorry, Rob.
yeah. So we're not trapped in a way as we were before under the Cornucopias branding. That is super exciting.
Thank you both. And again, I think this is an opportunity, a breath of fresh air, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Again, you guys have been building here for quite a bit, and you guys have just kind of talked a little bit about why the rebrand and the new name and the logo. So as we begin to see that roll out, what does all of this mean for the existing community? Obviously, now anybody who's holding a Cornucopias hat like the one that Josh is wearing is, sort of an OG, but what does this mean? And in particular, Josh, you mentioned the word Ascent, so maybe we could talk a little bit about, that and sort of the entire community rising along in this rebrand.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ascent is the stage that we're in. And I'll start with the lore, right? So the lore, as I mentioned earlier, refers to humanity rising, ascending into the clouds, into the sky because of that great calamity. So the lore, it's lore based, the ascension, but it's not just that. It's the community as well. We, the community, are cornucopians, and we are ascending into the clouds and ascending together into a new phase of this project's development, right? Not just in the game, but also the company as well. We're at a stage where the company has really matured in so many ways. The game is very, very close to mainstream marketable. In fact, it's close enough to where we're going to list on Steam and Epic, but that's for another discussion as well. But like, the game has reached a state of maturity. We're at an excitement phase, right? Where we're going to scale as a company. So yeah, a community, company, lore, the stage that we're in overall, we're ascending into a new phase of the life cycle that we're all in together.
Rob, anything that you maybe want to add about the lore and sort of the expansion
Yeah, I
of the
mean,
game?
Cornucopias itself, ours is an alternative version of Earth. So Cornucopias is a place on Earth, and that was the Earth that was taken by the Earthlings, the humans, and that Earth was put in these special, with the new technology, was able to put them in these huge giant domes that are floating around the Earth that is currently dying. So when you look at all the land, and we've currently got 3 sectors up there at the moment. We've got Solace, Esperanza, and Fortune that are coming. Those were all taken from the Earth, from this place called Cornucopias. And what I like to thinking about it is,
Cornucopias is now the nation of people in the sky.
yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And what I like to think about is almost like Cornucopias is the origin, and if we were to base the game around the origin, we're kind of really honed in and kind of focused. So when I look at something like Star Wars, for example, the original name for Star Wars was going to be Adventures of Luke Skywalker. Now that then focused on a family, on a person, and it kind of, really pinpointed it. When they freed that and expanded it into Star Wars, that created a whole universe that freed up the story to be as as big, and we've seen that other spin-offs that were then allowed to come from that, lore-based and other kind of spin-offs where yeah, we've now changed that focus from an individual place to the whole, you know, the whole multiverse.
Thank you both. And I think the next thing that we have to kind of talk about, right, is the expansion. So as the product gets ready, you guys have to shift into actually marketing it, right? Getting it into the people's hands. And so earlier, Josh, you mentioned Steam, you know, Epic Games. These are big platforms, right? Historically, this is where gamers go to get exposure to the latest releases. And so I'd like to ask, you know, what comes next in terms of the marketability, getting this into players' hands now?
Yeah. So with Steam and Epic, Steam is kind of like Nvidia almost in a sense, where Nvidia cards they have 95% of the market share. It's insane, right, for gaming cards, right? But Steam is kind of a similar in terms of their exposure, and Epic is rising as well. So the Epic platform is really growing. So the two of those together have a majority of the share of gamers, and so to list on them is a huge move. It's us. First putting our stake out there and saying, "Hey, look at us. We're around." Now, the listing is not, "Hey, the game is available." It's as a coming soon waiting list. But that allows us to start getting awareness from the mainstream gamer crowd, and this is probably the biggest marketing move we can make. So we wanted to launch with a really solid trailer, which you've just seen, and really get people excited about what we're doing. And so, yeah, we're asking all of our community and all you guys that are watching and excited about who we are and what we're doing. When that listing occurs, which will be a few days from now, we're not too far off from that, where we'll put that page up. But we're going to need all you guys' help to go and add us to the waiting list and on Steam waiting list, create the account there and get that, help us to get that traction, because that's what's going to create some momentum with mainstream gamers, which helps us to build towards our alpha launch, which will be heavily marketed. When we go to the alpha launch, that's when we're going to put mass marketing campaigns into effect to really generate that traction.
I love it. Now, we have to maybe take a step back here, right? Because we've talked about the game, but let's maybe talk about the assets and the economy around the game. And I think one of those things is the actual token, right? So you guys have obviously released the Cornucopias token, or the Copi token, as some may know it, within the Cardano ecosystem. You guys have gone multi-chain as well. What does this rebrand mean for tokenomics and any tokens that are already out there in circulation?
That's a big question. And so this goes back to some that I didn't mention on the Ascension question, but so much of this Ascension and this rebrand, this phase that we're in, we're really trying to position ourselves and realign and, get everything ready for a phase of the masses coming to the game. And one thing that we really wanted to look at in that regard is our token ecosystem. So it's not just the Ascension is not just the lore, the company, the game ascending, but it's also us looking at our tokenomics. It's us looking at our NFT rewards. It's us looking at the infrastructure and the utility that we provide. The Copi token, or the Rise token, is what it will be named. So to answer your question more thoroughly, for the tokenomics part of this, we're adjusting the total supply, and so the total supply is coming down significantly of tokens, and we've made reductions from the team side, from our personal side, to do that. And we've also made other adjustments in the tokenomics. There will be a full doc published giving you all the details as well. And I believe I'll have the link for you to provide for that is in the your video marketing, etc. But so please go check that out in full. But the circulating supply percentage, there was a phase when we launched the project where so many were doing play to earn, and this still has a play and earn element to it 100%, and we're not taking any rewards away. We're reducing the rewards, but there's a funnel, there's sinks and faucets, creating a live, thriving ecosystem that is dependent upon bringing new people in to the project. And so there's changes made there where we're going to have a burn that's based upon revenue. We're going to have tokens locked up. The circulating supply percentage goes up from 25 to 41. So we've made some significant changes that makes us a lot more appealing from a perspective. When somebody looks at the tokenomics of this project, now it's looking sustainable. It's looking based upon new users coming in. The circulating supply percentage goes up. That reduces risk. There's all sorts of changes involved here. And I just think that we took we wanted to take a look at everything that we're doing, our whole foundation, before we get into the masses, before we really explode the way that we believe and we think that we can, and we've been positioning for. We want to take a look at all of it with a fine-tooth comb and really just look through our entire foundation, make sure it's solid. Are we building on rock instead of sand? That sort of thing. And so that's what we did with the tokenomics as well.
Thank you. And I just have to say, and I'll be coming to you in just a moment, Rob, this is, I think, a side effect of being early, right? So obviously you guys are able to tap into a community. You guys have done a wonderful job building a massive community. I want to say it's 40,000 plus. But as a part of that, right, because we're so early in the space, sometimes you have to make those pivots. And I think tokenomics has been something that, like, because as a creator, I speak with so many projects, I've seen different types of tokenomics. And so even within the Cardano DeFi space, there's been a new tokenomics model that has sort of kind of taken over, and people have seen a lot of success with that. And so the fact that you guys are making adjustments as you guys are going, I think is also a reflection of the fact that you guys are learning along the way, right? Obviously gaming is its own niche, but the fact that you guys are really going out there and saying, hey, not only are we rebranding, but we're also going to make sure that we can provide tokenomics that continue to incentivize the growth of this game is a part of that process and a part of that journey. And so, Rob, I'd like to maybe ask you, what are your thoughts about the tokenomics, the restructuring, the burning, the adjustments there? Like, what are you thinking about, and what would you like to communicate to the community?
Well, when we started 4 years ago, we take a different approach to what's known as traditional game building. So in the traditional space, you would see nothing for 7 or 8 years. Then an announcement of a new IP, a new game would just suddenly appear. So, but we've taken the approach that the opposite way. We have been public from day one. But that also means that we're building on new technology, so blockchain technology, which is changing, it's evolving, and it's also maturing. We're also building on Unreal Engine 5, which again is maturing over the years. When we started, there was just 4 co-founders of the company. We've now got just under 50 people that are working on this AAA quality game. We're still an indie studio, and everything is kind of changing, and as the the company changes, as we take on more people, as we learn more about the technology, the space, and everything, I think it's now the right time before we kind of launch into mainstream and go on Epic and go on Steam, which own really 98% of the market. I think now is almost the perfect time to look at everything that we've built. It's probably the last chance to do anything major before we bring on the masses, because let's be clear, we are hoping the number of players that can come and play is to infinity. So we're looking to onboard millions of players, but because we have been building open in the public and differently, this means that we've been able to get feedback from our growing community. Like I say, when new games, you don't see nothing for 7 or 8 years, then they literally put $20-30 million into marketing. Something that's gone from nothing suddenly has to appear. Now, when we list on Steam, on those wish lists, we've got a community of just under 100,000 people on all platforms that this game has the potential to be trending almost from the first week, and that's what we're hoping. So we're going to get a lot of eyes really quick, and we're going to depend on our amazing community that have been along, to come along and support this change of branding, because there obviously will be some people that have pushed back. Change is difficult. It's taken us a long time to get this what we think's in the right space. But yeah, definitely there's a call to action to our community, to the Cornucopians, to come out, support us, because when we do list, this next year, 2026, is going to be absolutely huge for all of us.
Yeah, and to just emphasize, it really is important timing wise that we get as many as we can right when we list, to go and add us to the waiting list, to favorite it. And so we'll get you guys all that information 100%, because the time is what changes what, if they see a flood of traffic, that we go up in the rankings and it gets more eyeballs on what we're doing. And so it can have an exponential impact. So it's really crucial. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I was actually going to cue you up for this next question, because
Sure,
this is going to be on a lot of people's minds. Like we've talked about a lot, and this is a huge announcement to digest, right? So could we talk timeline? So any and everybody watching this video right now is essentially seeing the big reveal. When do we get the updates for the tokenomics? When do these things actually begin to take effect? Because again, I think it's going to be a lot to digest, especially for those that have kind of tuned out and are now just coming back, having to deal with the land grab, and then now Infinity Rising.
Yeah. First of all, the land grab. Wow. I mean, that brought people out of the trenches that hadn't really been paying attention, and our Discord filled up with all these landholders, and so that was an incredibly exciting event, and that was part of this whole series of what's happening here. Rob and I alluded to it a couple of weeks ago. We said the next 30 days, which has become a pretty fun little joke in our community. The next 30 days is going to be incredibly exciting. And it really is. So regarding the tokenomics and the timing of things, that's a great question. And I do want to say this: nobody needs to freak out. We are going to give you all the information on the tokenomics, but also the migration and how that works. You're not going to lose anything. It's all going to be straight up, fully communicated, every detail. I just want to say this: it's incredibly crucial that we look at every detail and manage the tokenomics, the token migration, incredibly well and professionally. And that's what we're doing. Our finance director, Ben, has looked through it. We have a full master plan on it, of every element: the centralized exchanges, the decentralized exchanges, the liquidity provision, all the things that we have to do, getting the information in the proper, secure way for the community to migrate the tokens. And when I say secure, that's incredibly important. Guys, make sure that you follow only links provided by us from our official channels when it comes to the migration. It's going to be a seamless process as much as we can make it so. But that timeline, I think we're shooting for around 1 to 2 months from now for the token migration to begin, or something to that effect. Actually, the token migration actually may begin sooner to that, but then the actual relisting and launch of the new token, about 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere around there. We need to nail that timeline a little bit better, and it might accelerate, but we're going to give people plenty of window. There will be window after the fact as well. For those that may not have heard the message until 3 months from now, they'll still get the opportunity to, migrate and all of that good stuff. So nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. This is all exciting news, right? I think it's a huge deal for us. So we're incredibly pumped. So the timeline for the rest is, the NFT rewards are going to start pretty soon. We haven't talked about that yet, but we'll get into that more, I'm sure. The infrastructure stuff, that's going to happen over all of next year. That's a longer phase deal where we add more utility to Copy token. But yeah, I'm not sure what all you wanted me to include in that timeline, because Rob can give you a whole heck of a lot. because he's done the detail on the Kopi wiki, but with our roadmap. But yeah, we've got a lot coming.
I think for me, it was just reassuring the community that there is time, that there's no rush, right? And that you guys will obviously be spreading out the information as quickly as possible and making that as thorough as possible. And kudos to you guys, because since day one, and I've been following you guys since inception, you guys have always provided the cleanest slide decks, right? When it was for your NFT sales, when it was for your nodes, and even today, you guys provided me with the slide deck for the rebrand. So I have no doubts that what you guys release in terms of the information for the migration will be just as thorough and just as clean and clear as what you guys have already released in times past. So, Rob, anything that you want to add in terms of timelines before we talk about infrastructure and utility?
Yeah, in terms of the website, the website, if not live at the moment with the new branding, will be live with either within the next 24 hours or this week. The launcher itself has been rebranded. So when the game is released, the next version of the game, the launcher has been rebranded. The game itself has also been rebranded. So that's coming out, I would like to say in the next 30 days, but I think it's probably going to be within 7 to 14 days, probably narrow it down. But yeah, don't hold me to that. But that game is coming out, and within the game itself, we now have the basic needs system, so people will be able to die within the game. We have ragdolling in there, we have gathering in there, so as well as the look and feel, we've got FSR in there as well as DLSS. So there's a big performance boost within the game. So we've not been just concentrating on the rebrand, we've also been concentrating on features for the game itself. After this release, we're then working on the XP and the player progression system and the events and quests. Those should happen before the end of the year, and then we're trying to get in as many features as we can before we have that listing on Steam and Epic to really give us the best chance at the next. It's not a relaunch, but the next phase of our ascension.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, we have to talk about infrastructure and utility. And so I'll maybe pitch one over to Josh. You guys have built a lot of stuff yourselves, right? And I think that's one of the things that you guys are known for, is taking a look at some of the things that have historically been sort of outsourced, right? Or done by third parties. And you guys have took those on yourselves. And so would love to hear what the longer term plans are when it comes to infrastructure, and then any sort of utility, right? Around things you guys have either built or even the Rise token.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, anyone in their right mind looks at what we've done and the path we've chosen would probably look at us and our vision and what we've built on the tech side and say, you're absolutely insane. How did you do this with a team of 50? And it's true. It's really true. We talk to David about this all the time. Our game team is on a skeleton budget, and we did that intentionally through the bear cycle, because we know we have to be able to sustain, right? And so soon we're going to be in a rebuilding phase where we're adding back to that team and accelerating. But what we've accomplished with that incredibly small team it's insane. Like, that's a testament not just to the skill and talent of our team and the people we've chosen and their passion for what they do, but it's also a testament to the tech that Unreal Engine has built, because they've made things, Unreal Engine 5 coming out has made things incredibly more efficient. So everyone's getting faster. We just have an incredibly talented and skilled team that was prepared before Unreal Engine 5 launched to utilize Unreal Engine 5 to the best of its ability. And so, but on the actual infrastructure side, we're incredibly short there too. It's a skeleton budget, and we had to take things on as a result of the Cardano ecosystem. So some of it was not by choice. It was partially by choice because we chose Cardano, and for a lot of reasons, right? As our starting ground. We're also on Base and Binance Chain as well, but we chose Cardano for a reason. And that is where a large amount of our community is. But that was an early stage ecosystem. So we had to build our own NFT marketplace. I need to correct myself here. We're not saying NFT anymore. We're preparing for mainstream. It's player owned assets. So we had to build our own player owned asset marketplace that utilizes that technology. And that's incredibly challenging. Not only did we build that, we also built the nodes infrastructure. Rob spearheaded the proof of concept for our nodes, which is a genius and innovative idea. I should probably allow him to talk about it. So I'll pass this off to Rob for the nodes part, because that's one of the biggest parts of our infrastructure that we'll be offering as a service to other games. The point here is, with the infrastructure that we've had to build as a result of early choices, we can now utilize that to bring more utility to the Rise token, formerly known as the Kopi token. We're bringing more utility to the Rise token, and that empowers and sustains the ecosystem even more. But I'll let Rob talk about the nodes and also the launcher. Rob also was heavily involved in the planning of the launcher as well, which is another part of our infrastructure. So I'll pass it to Rob now.
Yeah, I mean, along with the game, like I say, we have technology, and there's been opportunities for us to build additional technology, and the launcher in itself provides us with lots. So those that don't know, our launcher, traditionally when you would download a game, the game would be downloaded from AWS or some of the other hosting platforms. What we do is we push out our updates of our game. What we do is we kind of scramble and chunk them into thousands of individual pieces, and then our community actually host their own file servers. And when people download the game reaches out to multiple of these servers, and it downloads these little chunks, and then it puts them all together. And in doing that, what that's done is that's freed us up from kind of like the central hosting. It means we can deliver the game a lot faster. The current game is about 45 gigabytes, and on a traditional system that could take, depending on how they throttle it, up to maybe an hour or even larger. Yeah, so what this allows us to do is download a game significantly faster. Some people can download our game within 6-7 minutes, some people's 15 minutes, some maybe up to 45 minutes. All depends on where you are in your infrastructure in the world. But what we're doing is we're not throttling it. So if you are close to where they're being hosted, and we host throughout the world, then you're getting a significantly better first impression. And because it's always your first impression. Sometimes you're excited for a game for months and months, it finally gets listed, and then you have to wait for an hour and a half, or it's Christmas, you open it and you've got to register, all this kind of thing. So from the very first impression, we're trying to improve that player's performance all the way through to playing the game. And then when you're interacting with the game, with the other challenge that we had is because a lot of our assets are player owned. We have player owned land, for example, and what could potentially happen there is players own a land, and then if they go away or they don't play the game no more, that land then in itself, for example, can never be owned by anyone else if we built it up in such a way. So we had to think of how we're going to kind of solve these challenges, and I think we've come up with some really good technology to do this. Because unlike a traditional game where you can play in different servers and all those servers are all different instances, with our game, although it is split across different servers because of the current technology, what it means is that if you go into a certain land plot, that land plot will look the same delivered on all the different servers, which is really, really unique, and it's such an exciting to know that you own that specific land plot and nobody else will ever own or build on that. And then looking forward, we're building on the very latest Unreal Engine 5.6, which currently, as we record this video, is the latest live production version. But then in the future, we're also looking forward to in a few years from now, when Unreal Engine 6 comes out, and then that's capable of hosting thousands and thousands of people within the same server. That opens up the game to a whole more of a social and community-based experience. So there's tons of things happening at the moment in terms of technology. We're looking close at technology, we're looking at future technology, and we're also looking at the blockchain technology, which if people don't know, the one of the massive advantages of the blockchain is that the security of moving these assets from players' wallets is built into our technology. You know, it's not an add-on. When people look to trade or sell their items to other players, we're not going to ban you. We're going to encourage you to do that, and we're going to built into our technology from day one is the ability to do that on a secure way. So you know that you're trading. You can still trade anonymously to other people, but your assets will get to the right people at the right time, and they'll be almost, well, there'll be zero risk unless obviously they try and look outside. But also, we're not in control of those marketplaces. Our game will have so many open areas that we share some of the information, some of the data with the community to build services on top of our game, on top of some of the outputs that we send out, and also third party marketplaces where people will also be able to buy and sell and trade. You really own your own assets within our game.
A quick summary would be infrastructure wise, the launcher, other games will be able to use that. The nodes, other games will be able to use that to save funds. That will drive utility to the Rise token. So these are just two things. And we're also looking at game server infrastructure that we've had to build for ourselves, a custom version of that, because we have a persistent world, but then we also have session-based gaming with racing and stuff like that. So we needed a very custom solution. So we've also got that as well that could be potential infrastructure provision. All of this will roll out over time. It takes time. But that being said, that's the point. And, we really wanted to add extra utility to the Rise token, and that's how we're doing it. It's just another part of our story.
As we get ready to wind things down here, you guys opened the door, so I'm going to walk right through it. We got to talk about NFTs, or as you guys just mentioned, right? Player-owned assets. And so what does this mean with Infinity Rising? Rewards, staking? We'd just love to hear, what happens moving forward. And again, I think a good example of this was the land grab. A lot of NFTs are out there. People are now jumping back in their wallets. And so do we expect anything when it comes to player-owned assets and rewards, staking, etc.?
Well, okay. Rob and I are both going to have to comment on this one because this has been a long collab between Rob and myself, also between Rob and David, between Ben and David, Rob and David. Like there's been a lot of collab on this very topic. Our player-owned assets are going to enable you to earn in the Cornucopias, in the Infinity Rising ecosystem, right? So when you play the game, you're going to be able to earn based upon those assets that you hold. So it's a big topic and it's a lot to cover. I almost want to suggest that we do a full, video at some point on this entirely, but there's a variety of different things you can do inside of Infinity Rising. And if you own certain assets and you go racing and you participate and you do well on leaderboards and racing, well, that earns you some of the Rise token as well as Infinity. And that's going to be the end game currency. So there's a variety of different mechanisms, and they're explained inside of the tokenomics doc that we're going to share with you what each of those are. But what you hold in terms of player-owned assets empowers you to participate in the rewards section of the tokenomics that we established and laid out. And so there is going to be an emission schedule for each season and how much is going to go to the gamers, to the landholders, to the apartment holders, to the various different things that you can do inside Infinity Rising, whatever it may be, racing, rift battles, fishing, crafting, all of the mining, all of these different things are going to enable you to participate in the reward structure of the game. But Rob and I went back and forth on that quite a bit. He put together a pretty solid document. Then we passed it off to David. He's modified it. We've gone back and forth and iterated. I don't know what all you would want to add to it, Rob.
Well, we're leading up to, as I say, we're adding XP and we're adding tasks and events to come alongside some of the leaderboards that we currently have in games. So we've been slowly testing and rolling some of the leaderboards out over the past year or so. I mean, the game technically has been pre-alpha for unavailable 24 hours for over 2 years now.
Yes.
But what we're going to do is we're going to do a shift in how the rewards are earned. So what would typically happen is somebody would have an account and they would get to the top of the leaderboard, and then they'd probably create another account, and then they'd go again and they'd get second and third and fourth and fifth and all that kind of stuff. Like I say, we don't want people really creating multiple accounts. So the leaderboards are actually going to be based on the assets. So if you own multiple assets, you can appear naturally within those leaderboards, and you can earn more of a share based on it. And also we're going to do some of the rewards that will actually be given based on rarity as well. So although the skill bit is not taken out of it whatsoever, you still have to come first, second, third, all the way 10 to 100th place. But your individual rewards, some of them then will be based on the rarity of that asset, which doesn't affect other players. It's not pay to win or any of that kind of thing. You will still be getting your reward that you would be get wherever you finished. It just in some instances there may be a boost because that individual asset has a different type of rarity. So this is a thing that would be it's really important, something that has taken a long time for us to put this together, and we are so excited to put this whole package of a game and rewards and infrastructure together. It's been a lot of hard work, but
Yeah,
I think we've landed on the right way.
A lot of hard work coming together all at once, all at the perfect time, in my opinion. I would add one thing that I forgot to mention. So, and Rob talked about some of the different ways that you'll get rewards in this structure. We're not leaving out the newcomer that doesn't have any player-owned assets. That is also a funnel to drive and create more people that are participating with player-owned assets. So we will also reward them as well, and that will give them the ability to purchase player-owned assets, and that will get them into the loop, into the greater game loops as well. And so we're considering all the gamers here, but we're going to have a funnel of mainstream gamers that we need to direct and get them involved in learning how to use our assets and all sorts of good stuff like that. So that'll be one of the incentives as well with our reward structure.
Yeah, I think just probably the final thing on that is the blockchain element will be completely invisible, so people will not do not need to know anything about Web3. They will just come in. It'll be a free to play game. You'll just create your account. A wallet will be created in the background if you need it. So I think that's important. We want to attract mainstream people. I think gaming's evolving. I think lots of these current mainstream games are definitely looking into blockchain, and they will be doing similar to the way we have. Our advantage, obviously, is we've started with the blockchain and built on top of that. They are going to kind of retrofit and go through that. So I think we do have an advantage on some. Obviously, some of them have billions and billions of money to come in, but we're coming from a different point of view, because we understand the technology and how important and how literally we are on a revolution of gaming.
Yeah, not only do you understand the technology, you have the community to back it up, but then also have taken the time to really think about, all of these different niche scenarios that people may or may not, use to try to take advantage of things, et cetera. And so really, I think making this a fair and a balanced landscape for the newcomer or the OG that's been here for the last 3 or 4 years. And so as we get ready to wind things down, first off, this has been an amazing interview from the both of you. Thank you as always for making the time. But we have to close off with what comes next, so I'll hand it over to Josh first, and Rob, you'll have the final words.
I'm thinking of very near term next. We've got an avatar contest that's coming pretty soon. We're juggling the timing of that and how we want to do that. We've also, and the reason for that is our Avatar 3.0, it's incredibly solid. And not many games even endeavor to build an avatar builder. Most of them just give you some presets that you can select from or whatever. In our case, there's hundreds of sliders, and you can fully customize it. And the level of quality and attention to detail that we've put into this on version 3.0, it's evolved. There was Avatar 1, Avatar 2.0, and Avatar 3.0. It's incredibly powerful, and we're really proud of it. And so we want to do an avatar contest when we're ready here pretty soon. So that's coming, because what we want is, we want for mainstream to start to discover, wow, there's not many people or not many games in the world that have built one to this quality. This is beyond what we would expect from a new studio that came out of nowhere, right? So there's that. And then we've also got the build coming, the apartment sale that's coming up next, which is, you can have premium apartments, and that everybody is going to have their own free apartment, first of all. So this is another onboarding funnel for mainstream gamers, which is that everyone's going to have their own free space that they get to fully customize. So you get your avatar fully customized, make it your own. You get your own space, customize it, make it your own. If you participate in the land, you get to customize that and participate in the economy in your own way, the giant world that you get to explore. And this is your digital sense of life that we're creating, that has a lore backbone as well. So there's going to be challenges and adversity and enemies with the rifts, but there's so much that's coming. I can't stop talking about it. So I already feel like I've been talking for a while on it, but I wanted to peg those things there. We've also got crafting on the way, and a lot of things that we've been working on in parallel, and I'll transition it over to Rob at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we've been building a lot. You know, a lot of people have been questioning, when are we going to be marketing the game? You know, we've been working on the rebranding for a year. It would, at some point, it would have been pointless to market the Cornucopias brand when we know we're coming through. So marketing is coming. That's going to really start in the Steam era as we move to that next chapter, I suppose, in our history. So what's coming next is just pure excitement, growth. We're going to grow the team next year. We're going to grow the brand. We're going to grow the community. We're going to grow the features. Everything around us is about to grow. The whole market, the whole space is going to grow. But we're also adopting and transitioning to a more community encompassing. So we're bringing along the Web3 community as we ascend and rise into the traditional market, where we're going to have traditional players playing our game. This is where the growth comes from. This is where we get thousands, 100,000s, millions of players, not from the Web3 community. They will be the backbone of us, and they will actually help us to inform and educate the newcomers as they come and join us on our journey. And yeah, basically we're all just gonna rise together into infinity.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Rob Gregg and Josh Jones here, two of the co-founders of Infinity Rising. It's so funny. I've had you guys on here, and I've said that so many times with Cornucopias.
Yeah.
I now have to train myself, right? So thank you guys for taking the opportunity to not only reveal the alpha here, but to share what else comes next. Would love to have you guys back on to discuss the apartment sale as that begins to roll out. But that said, for anyone who is watching this, first off, please smash that thumbs up down there. This type of effort, this type of transparency, this type of alpha takes time. These guys have been keeping this under wraps, working on this for an extremely long time here. And so, again, want to just give you guys massive kudos. For anyone who's new to the Infinity Rising community, links to everything that we've discussed down below, how you guys can get early access to the game before it's released to the mainstream public, and how you can also join their community. If you have any questions, also feel free to voice off down below, and make sure to jump into their Discord. They are there 24/7. That will do it for this particular interview. As always, if you found this type of content to be helpful, smash that thumbs up on the way out. If you want more alpha just like this, consider subscribing to the Dapp Central YouTube channel. And that will do it here for today's update. That said, and as always, we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers, everybody. Take care.